My question is more so around kind of what Victoria highlighted
Yes.
for her statement and kind of what you were getting into as it relates to financial trauma and what our community goes through. And I like how you were speaking to the fact that, hey, it's not your fault, right? Like there are just things that, all of us were purposely led to not know. And just the importance of laying that out and just providing perspective for a lot of us. That's the basis of my question.
Okay. That was more of a statement, but do you actually have a question?
Oh no, my question as it relates to like financial trauma, so you can kind of like dive deeper
Okay.
into that.
All right. So here's the thing about financial trauma. We call it financial violence. And the problem with the way that this violence happens is that there's a point at which you can be violated and it doesn't even feel like violence after a while. You just accept it. You get used to a certain treatment and you just accept it. In fact, you can get so used to ill treatment that when it doesn't happen anymore, it feels wrong. All right. So there is a syndrome. Okay. Stockholm syndrome talks about when somebody is kidnapped. After a while, they begin to identify with their kidnappers and espousing what they believe. And somehow they said, they justify the kidnappers kidnapping them. They begin to identify with the criminals. So here's what I'm trying to tell you, folks. It can get so severe that when the authorities find out where the captive is, the captive will fight the authorities to prevent their own rescue. And it happens here too. There are people that once you get used to paying your money this way, you can get so used to it to find out that now you don't have to do it, and that the difference is so stark, it's so great, it's so magnificent how much money you don't have to pay them. It feels wrong. And some people will argue you down in favor of the bank so they can continue to get their money. So, is that what you're talking about, my brother?
Yes, sir, man. That definitely resonated with me, man, because I'm just noticing that loop, that reoccurring mistreatment. And it is just so normal now, man, that we don't even know how to fight against these people. We're calling the banks, they'll say they need to go do a fraud specialist when they need to really a fraud specialist themselves. They need to actually, right? Like, it's funny. And I noticed this too. The other thing I noticed they do is they separate themselves into multiple departments. So you have the credit card department dealing with the auto loans, deals with the real estate. So none of them know what is going on, or they make sure none of the sales agents know what's going on in the other departments. Right. And so that's also another way they commit fraud.
So here's the thing, brother. Here's what I'm trying to say. Number one, it's not fraud. Okay. Fraud is a legal term. Okay. So there are some things that are very legal. They may not be moral, but they are legal. So if they are doing it, I guarantee you that it is legal and it is not fraud. So here's my thing. We are not anti-bank, but we are pro-education. So if you have the bank on one side, you got the consumer on the other side. And if the consumer is educated, now we can go to the bank and make a deal that benefits us instead of the bank. And because the rules don't change, we can walk out smelling like a rose. I love borrowing the bank's money. I love getting it at a discount. I love getting their money at 75% off. And because I'm still going to buy what I buy. I will still be able to buy the same $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 house, but I can get it at 75% off of the interest cost. Oh my goodness. I love the bank. I just don't want to pay them all that money. All right, Prince, I hope that helps.
I like that. I like how you frame that. Morality and legality. You doesn't have to separate the two.
Exactly.
But Don has some valuable information that can contribute to the quality of a person's life. And it only costs you a few dollars. It's his book. Why not get that?
I'm going to go through the P.I.L.L method myself with some of my investment properties. So I'm going to link up with Don, and then I'm going to sit down with him, show him my investment portfolio, and see how I can eliminate interest.